looking at what we have, I'm going to go into here, because we did make our world character. I totally forgot about that. I'm just going to drag our starting character into this world character. And then, you know what? I'm going to save it. And then I think I'm going to load up our world map. Which I have as world scene. And here, I want to, and I'm going to use a Unity terrain. You don't have to use a Unity terrain. You could use anything. You can use planes and meshes. But I'm going to use a Unity terrain. And then I am going to just very quickly give this a couple, or at least a layer. Yeah, even if it's just something like that. That'll do. And then, now, I mean, you could do mountains and all that through stamping. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a forest object, though, just as a personal preference. And I'm just going to grab some trees, more or less. And I mean, really, when it comes to your world, I mean, you could decorate it any which way your little heart desires. Right, so I'm going to grab, you know, that was one. I'll grab two as well. And I grab both of those. We don't need the colliders. I don't like how these ones sit so high, so I'm also going to drop them down a bit. And then I'm going to take this whole thing and then cut it down to like tiny. Actually, it'd almost be better for me if I grabbed our player and just seen how it looked size-wise. Right? Like, is that big enough? Too big? You know, like I can take it smaller, but then you're going to have a whole lot of meshes. Which, I mean, and if you combine meshes, then I guess that's really not that big of a deal, is it? Right? Because now I could take this, just duplicate this out a few times. Something like that. And like I said, now if I was smart, I would combine these meshes. Mesh Combine Studio. I love that asset. I really do. I think it's a beautiful asset. But there is a lot of nice combining systems out there. But I'm just going to paint, you know, some more or less trees. I don't think I'll do the same thing, but I'll do what do we have for mountains? Do we have any mountains? Not in that one, but we do over here. Right, let's get, you know, a decent looking mountain though. I don't like those ones. Maybe this one here. Drop that one in it. It's probably good enough. take all of those and I'm going to just kind of stick them out a little bit. You know, whoop. Not really that worried about it. Take something like that and then bring these down to like holy, getting crazy. Right, and let's put those, of course, down on the ground. I'm going to take all those and just drop them down a bit. And now we have a little bit of, you know, some sort of mountain range anyways. Can't have this style of game without the mountains, right? I don't think so. Maybe you can. Turn the whole thing. Something like that. And then I think one of the other things is if you kind of look at it from a distance, for me anyways, is it mostly going to adjust. Like you could take those, be like super big, but I think I'm going to go small with them. And then, you know what, I'm going to add one more layer. Something like this. That way I can at least pretend like I'm doing something. And if you find like maybe the resolution isn't high enough, I mean, you can go into here and go where are we here? You know, up that. And you'll have a little bit, a little more luck with it, you know, making like those curves. If you want those, you don't have to. Just kind of put that out there. Just paint a little something over here. You know, maybe throw a few spots kind of around. See if we can get this kind of blended in a bit more. And then if you want, I mean, you could play with this forever, really. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of course you can do. All right, see, even that, like that, the vertex count there isn't very high. But I mean, I've got it pretty low. I'm going to bring this one up, and I'm going to take this guy up. And then I'm going to take that's like way too much strength. Just kind of want to feather that in a bit. A little bit of depth to it. Anyways, I mean, the whole point was just to kind of get this going so we had a place to actually go. I mean, if you're curious on how, I mean, I imagine you're not curious, but like for a town, this is what I did in the little demo video. I just kind of grabbed some buildings. Well, I grabbed the castle too, but Just grab a handful of things randomly, whatever. I'm going to use the optimized ones. Again, I mean, these ones are probably a little big. You can't really, like, you could combine them a bit. Kind of shape them into a house, or what would look like a town if you were playing, like, say, Final Fantasy. Has almost that kind of that U shape, right? Maybe duplicate some of these. And then I also like to kind of give them some random turns. I do my random turns weird. I'll kind of randomly just grab things like that, and then just twist, and just kind of keep doing that a bit. I don't know, maybe that's just me. And you just kind of do it a few times until you got what you figure to be some randomness. And again, like, none of these actually need colliders. Right? But now we have a little town there as well. And we'll get into how we deal with going in and out of towns and stuff like that. Alright, so there's our little map. I'm going to save that. And we do need, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete our camera, and I'm going to create an empty. This guy's going to be our camera system. And then, well, I guess I didn't need to delete the camera. I could have just moved it into here. But you should make sure they're tagged. If you have one camera, tag it into main camera. And I'm going to move this up and back, and then aim it down. I think I had it at 42, 45. Let's try 60, maybe even 65. Kind of find a place where you're kind of happy with it, I suppose. And then we need to build just a little bit of logic on this. I'm going to get rid of our character. We don't need the character. Okay, you know what will be a little easier, because I'm pretty sure we need some references. I'm going to prefab this without any logic and delete it. And then I'm going to open up our, it'll be easier to do this in our, I mean, now that we have an idea of how we want it set up. Where is our menu scene? Yes, save that. I'm going to pull this out, and then I'm actually going to unprefab it so I can make a bunch of changes and delete this one. Alright, so this guy needs a little bit of logic. Just like that. And this thing is going to get owner, and we're going to get a global. We're going to get, I believe that's our cameras. So I'm going to build another FSM to template into there. So this guy here is going to run template, but we're actually going to build the template over here. So what does this guy need to do? Well, we know we have this thing. So let's camera fade in, because this camera is going to be in numerous places. And the other thing we want to do is we want to get FSM game object. And I'm going to just select this guy. So we have a player state manager and we have a current player. That's going to be our current player. We'll keep the same name. Now obviously we're not going to drag that in though. That was a bad idea. This is going to be from our our FF manager. That he'll have that data for us. And then what's a few of the other things that we wish to do? Well, we're also going to want a reference to our camera. Really, we haven't prefabbed it yet, so I'm going to just drag it in. So once we're here, you know what? I'm going to do this every frame is null. And if our character is null, we're not going to do anything. If it's not null, follow. I guess we got to change that to follow and copy that, paste that, and I'm going to say, wait. Turn that to a wait. So if we have a character, cool, we're going to go do something. If we lose a character, go back in here and wait. Pretty simple. Now we want to, we're going to cause our camera to look at the player. Don't have the keep vertical every frame. And we're going to use move towards. We want this guy to move towards our current player. And with no finish distance. And that is it. So I'm going to save this as a template. Camera system. Now I'm going to delete that. We don't need that anymore. Come into here, and now we're going to use our camera system. Simple as that. Now, go back to our prefabs. I'll prefab that guy now. Delete him. Let's go back to our scene over there, and I'm going to drop this right in there, just like that. And then I'll save. And then we can open and go back to our menu scene. So now we are sitting at, if we hit this and we say new, we go new slots, or we say save slots. So that's where this guy's going to come in, but we still can't do this guy yet. There's still some more things that we need to do before we get there. But we need to get into this guy and start setting up some stuff here, and we need to start building what our character looks like in our UI.